Wonderful. As I said, everyone will be able to write down their questions, their comments, anything you'd like to tell us. You can do so by writing it down on the chat, and we will be reading it and answering it if it needs an answer throughout the segments, right? Okay, here we are. Welcome to our second open training of the year. It will be held in English. Us, the speakers, Maga Santana, our wonderful product trainer. Maga, thank you for being here with me.
Thank you, Belu. I'm very happy.
Wonderful. Thank you, Maga. And myself, Belen Torres, I will be leading this specific open training. So let's start. Let's go through our objectives or our main goals first. One of them is learning the basics of COR, right? Gaining knowledge and skills to manage our projects and our tasks efficiently, right? We want you to learn as much as you can the essentials to understand project profitability, which is quite complex, so we will go through this very slowly. And last but not least, to improve your capacity and performance within COR. That would be it. We will continue a little bit further. Let's go. Our agenda for today is our workflow proposal. Secondly, our responsibilities per role. You already know that within COR, we have different user roles with specific responsibilities and scopes. Then we don't have a number 3, but let's imagine we have a number 3. We will have a platform walkthrough. And lastly, we will have a question and answer section in case we have something that we didn't answer on our chat. Without further ado, let's go to our flow proposal, which you may notice that it's quite different from the last one or from the other ones that we have presented throughout the year. Why is this? Because we have added 2 complementary status, which you will be able to set or to configure or to update in each task. So first of all, we will have a project manager. Maybe it's an account person, or maybe it's just a project manager, a person who performs the role of a project manager. That person within the platform creates a project. Afterwards, inside this project, he or she will create tasks, right? And he or she will assign them to a different user who are the collaborators. The collaborators have different responsibilities in our platform, which are tracking their time and updating the task statuses. I will show you this afterwards. But as we were saying, the collaborators collaborate to complete this task. They change the status to in progress, right? We start from a task which is in new, right? In status new, and we change it to in progress because we start working with it. Afterwards, once the collaborators have finished with their work within the task, they change the status to in review, which is different from the workflow proposal that we were showing before, because now we have a new status, which is in review. The project manager will receive a notification, right? Which will be informing them that the task is now ready to review it. The project manager will sit down with the client, or internally he or she will discuss if it needs an adjustment, right? If it needs an adjustment, we will add a rework and we will be pushed back here to the correction status. Automatically, the platform will bring back will update, the task to the correction status, and everyone will receive a notification because the collaborators need to make some adjustments, right? Because they were asked by the client, or because internally we need to make some adjustments in those deliverables or tasks. So once all the corrections or the adjustments are completed, we are pushed back to in review status because we need to review again the task. Maybe we have everyone's approval so we can finish it, or maybe we need to make more adjustments and we add more reworks. Let's suppose that the PM has everyone's approval, the client's approval, and internal approval, and we can, or the PM can, change the status to finished. What does this mean? That we have finished the task. But there's one more step that the project manager must do, which is archiving the task, which is different than updating the status to finished. Once the task is archived, we are ready to go on with the next task or with the next tasks. All right. If we don't have any questions in our chat, Maga, we can go on. All right.
Yeah, you can continue.
Excellent. All right. Now let's go to our responsibilities per role. Right. We were saying that we have different roles within CORE, and we have these two fundamental roles and users who are the PMs, the project managers, and the collaborators. The project managers have the responsibility of creating and assigning projects and tasks. They add reworks, as we said, and they archive tasks, and they archive also projects. I will show you afterwards how we do this. And also, as you have seen throughout the workflow, the project manager will be on the project that he or she has created because they have to do the follow-up, right? That's why the collaborators update the task statuses. Now, the collaborators, what do they do? What are their responsibilities? Well, they execute the tasks, right? They collaborate to finish those tasks. They update the task statuses, very, very important, and fundamental for them to track their work time. It's fundamental, it's one of our most important inputs. All right, if we don't have any questions in our chat, we can continue. All right, here we are. We have arrived to our platform walkthrough, which is the most fun part of our webinar. So if we don't have any questions in our chat, comment, anything, Maga, we can go on.
Yes, we can go on.
Wonderful. Maga, can you see my core account properly, the login?
Yes, it's okay.
Wonderful. Okay, so here we are. We are in our platform. We are logging in. I will go through this part really quickly because I know that this is quite easy. I will just mention a few things that you must take into account, which are changing your password if you have a generic one or if you don't have a secure one. Just click on Forgot My Password, write down your selected email to work with CORE, and just reestablish your password. You will receive an email and you will be able to change it to a more secure one. Then you have a help button right here, which says help. And you will be able to type down your questions, your issues, like I forgot my password. You click enter and the gadget will show you results. It will show you help desk articles, which will help you solve this issue. In case this is not enough, you can leave a message to our support team. They are not bots, they are people, so they will be answering you in short notice, okay? Okay, there you go. Let's log in, here we are. Okay. Welcome to CORE. This is our homepage. As you can see, I have lots of information, lots of tasks and everything because this is a training session. This is the session or the account that we use to train users. So you will see that we have fictional clients like Wayne Enterprises, Gringotts Bank. So it's fictional. It's just fictional for training purposes. Then another disclaimer. As you may see, I have lots of modules on my left side, on my left bar. Why is that? Because I have a specific role, which is a C-level, which this user has permissions or a total visibility of the platform. Why is this? Because it's the platform's configurator, is the person who is in charge of almost everything on the platform, right? Today, since we have just a specific amount of time, we are going to walk through our workflow, our project management workflow, and we will dive into project profitability. So we won't be analyzing each module. Okay, so let's start with our generals. our left sidebar, as you can see, I have lots of modules, but our scope is different. We have the help button, which is present along the platform. You will be able to ask the support team or to, for example, report an issue anytime you want, right? Just by clicking on this button, you can, right, type down your question or your issue, or you can leave us a message, okay? Then you have the COR Academy button, which is an e-learning platform where you will find videos, tutorials, useful content, anything you need to learn a little bit more about COR. And if you have doubts about any feature or any functionality, you will find your answers there. Then we have all our modules. As you can see, we have a header where we have a track time button. See how important it is for us to track our work time. We have a progress bar, which will show us how much time we have tracked today, right? Today, Thursday. As you can see, we have some suggested time. Don't worry, I will explain this later because COR works with artificial intelligence, so it sometimes suggests our work time. But as you can see, I haven't tracked my time today yet because it's quite early here in Argentina. So I have 0%. Then on our right, we have a search bar where you will be able to look for specific tasks or projects. You can look for them on an advanced search, active or archived tasks and projects. Then we have our profile settings. If we click on our avatar and we click on the profile settings, you will be able to change your name, change or set the light or dark mode, and change the settings or save those settings. You will be able to reset your password from here too. Now, let's go to our notifications. As you can see, we have a bell right there, a button, where you will be able to see all your notifications. They are all updates about tasks and projects that you're involved in, okay? So as you can see, Catherine has made some modifications to a specific project, which is called Campaign. As you can see, I haven't opened this model for quite some time, so I have lots of notifications. Whoop, sorry. There you go. Catherine has been working quite a lot in our account. If I click on any notification, I open the panel, for example, the task panel, and if I go back to my notifications model, you will see that COR is showing me that I have already read this notification, right? It shows us that it has been read and opened. If you need to archive this notification because it does no longer, you don't find it useful anymore, then you can archive it and it disappears. Now, on the top of our model, we will find the Go to Inbox button where you will be redirected to a specific page with all your notifications, and you will find the Settings button, which is very, very important. And I will go through this quickly, but if you have any questions, please write them down on our chat. COR has project notifications, task notifications, and alerts. You will be able to activate them or to deactivate them by just clicking on these buttons, right? You have two types of notifications. You have the web notifications and the email notifications. All these web notifications will be placed here. If we don't activate them, you won't be updated on everything, that happens within the tasks and projects that you're involved in. That's why we highly recommend you to keep them on. Then you have the email notifications, which they are absolutely up to you, since you will be receiving emails from COR and maybe your inbox is quite full, so you don't need this to be on. So you can just turn them off, right? And save your changes. One more thing, in case you want them on and you need to receive just one email on a daily basis or weekly, you can do so by selecting the daily email. You will receive a daily email with a summary of everything that has happened within the platform, or a summary every 10 minutes, 60 minutes, etc. All right. Maga, I see that there are no questions in our chat, so we can continue, right?
Yes, we can continue. It's no any question.
No questions. Wonderful. Let's jump right into our projects module, which is right here on our left. There we go. Okay, as you can see, once we click on this button, on this project module button, we'll be redirected to a list of projects, which this list depends on your permissions. If you're a C-level, you will be able to access all the projects within the platform. But if you're a project manager, you will be working with your projects and, right, your projects, the one that you have created, and the ones that you're a member of, right? So you will have on display the projects that you have created or that you're a member of, right? If you have lots of projects and you need to filter your search, you can do so by applying the dynamic filters. We can apply filters by client, for example. I just want to see Wayne Enterprises projects. As you can see, I had 31 projects on display. Now I have 4, and I can keep on applying dynamic filters. One disclaimer, if I leave this module and I come back to the projects module, these filters will be fixed. So in case you need to go back to the default mode, you can clear those filters, okay? Or just by clicking on the X. Now, another possibility that you have here in our module is the export, the possibility to export a list of projects. You can filter by, as we did, or maybe created by, let's look for Mary Rosewood. Okay, those are the projects that I have created, and I can export the list of projects in an Excel, right? We can export all these 3 projects, this list of 3 projects in another format. Let's clear those filters and let's see what we have on display as regards projects information. Okay, we have, first of all, a color. What does this color represent? For projects and tasks, we have different statuses, as I have told you before. For projects, we have new, in progress, suspended or paused, and finished. Blue represents the new status. Orange represents in progress. Green represents finished. And red represents paused or suspended. So just in one glance, you're able to see the project's status. Then we have the project's health. What does this mean? It's just an indicator that shows us, project managers or C-levels or directors, or even collaborators, it shows us the project's health depending on the project's deadline. If we have passed the deadline and we haven't finished the project, and if the performance, the profitability of this project is positive or not. If it's not positive, then most likely this project health will be negative, right? Because, for example, the ad campaign should have been finished, I know, the deadline is in 2 months, so there's no problem, but the profitability is negative, right? Then we have a positive project's health because the deadline is in 2 months and the profitability is positive. And then we have a neutral, right? A neutral health because it should have been finished 15 days ago, but the profitability is quite all right. So that's those are our parameters to see the project's health. Now we have the project's name, the client which is assigned to, because there are no projects within COR. We cannot create projects independently, or they do not exist without being linked to a client, because afterwards we will analyze those projects, therefore those clients. So they are all assigned or linked to a client. We have the start date, the deadline of the project, the progress, which is related to the amount of hours that we have estimated that this project would take us, the task and the different statuses. As you can see, we have different statuses for tasks, 6. We have the members, we have the accumulated income, which we can see if we are C-levels or directors. For project managers, it depends on our permissions. If we just create projects and we are part of the project management, maybe we don't need to access this specific indicator or this specific value. Then we have the performance, right? The project profitability, the frequency of the project, and we are able to fab a project, which we will be able to access through our sidebar. If we take this off, you will see that the project disappears. Okay. All right. No questions, Maka, in our chat. Everything is clear.
Yes, no questions. It's very clear.
Wonderful. Let's jump to our tasks module. As we have said, we create projects and afterwards we create tasks which exist within those projects. But collaborators work in tasks, right? Project managers work creating projects, following up the project's development, and the collaborators execute tasks. So let's show them a few tricks and a few tools for them to work within COR. If you're a collaborator and you have lots of tasks assigned, you are able to filter those by applying the dynamic filters as we have done before. I'm going to filter by when enterprises tasks, and there we have it. All our when enterprises tasks, which are assigned to me as a collaborator. If we clear those filters, we go back to our default visibility, right? All right, what can we see here in our simple task list? The name of the task, the name of the project which this task belongs to, and the client. We have clients, projects, and tasks, right? All of them linked. Then we have messages. In case you have new messages, you will have a small notification, a small indicator here. You have the priority, so you can start prioritizing one task over another. You have deadlines, obviously. You have the project manager, the person, the user who has created this specific task. You have the collaborators, which can be just you, Mary Rosewood, or Mary Rosewood and Denise. And we have the actions. The actions are our components for us to track time, right? We have different ways to track time. And then we have the archive task button, which is mostly used by project managers. As we have said before, once the task is finished and we have everything ready, everyone's approval, we can archive the task so we can continue working with the others. All right, this is the task list, and then we will jump to our My Tasks view. This is quite different because the tasks are distributed in groups and segmented by deadline. So you're able to add filters as we did in the previous modules, right? By status, by deadline, by project manager, priority, etc. And you will see that in the Today group, we will find all the tasks which should have been finished by now, but we still haven't finished them. Okay, so we have passed the deadline, or maybe this specific task ends today and it is located here. Then we have the This Week group where we will find all the tasks which have a deadline in the next 7 days, the upcoming tasks which have a deadline 8 days onwards, right? And then we have the finished task, which us collaborators have already finished executing, but the project managers still haven't archived. It is very important for you project managers to archive the tasks that we are no longer going to work with, because it doesn't help us to have a big list of tasks which we don't have to work in. So let's help collaborators and let's archive those tasks. There you go. I have archived one of my tasks because I was the project manager of this specific operation or task. All right. There's one more thing that I want to show you, which is pretty useful here, which is the drag and drop. This feature that we have helps us do a to-do list, for example. I can drag this task, which was in this week group, to today, because I have to finish it today, for example. So I need to finish the publish and promotion for Gringotts Bank. I have to finish the planning, the review and approve for digital marketing campaign, and that would be it. But if I go to another module and I come back to this specific view, I will have the publish and promotion task placed here. It is fixed. So in case you want to go back to your default view, you need to change, right, the location of this specific task because it belongs here, right, to the this week group. Now let's see, or let's work with our last view, which is the cards view. If we go back to our tasks module, you will see that on your far right, you will find a card view button, which will redirect you to this specific view, which is quite different from the last ones, and it helps us change the task statuses easily. We have the dynamic filters as we have done before, and we have all the tasks organized in columns. What do these columns represent? The statuses: finished, on hold, in corrections, in review, in progress, and new. In case we start working with this planning and I need to change the specific task status, I just drag and drop. There you go. Whoop. Oh, I don't need the dictionary. There you go. For example, I need to change it to in review, so I just drag and drop this task to the column in review, and there you go. We have changed the planning status. Very, very easy. We have different components here. We can track our time, we can archive this specific task, we can see all its information, and we can just by clicking on it, enter the tasks panel. Okay. Are there any questions, Maga, so far? This was quite long.
No questions. We can continue.
Okay, so that's wonderful. I think you have everything very clear then. Okay, so remember that we were presenting our platform, our workflow proposal, right? We have the projects creation, the task creation, the assignment of the task, etc. Let's do that so we can go together, and in case you have any questions throughout that process, you can write them down in our chat. So, different ways of creating a project, right? We can click on this button here and create a project, or we can go to our projects module, and on our right, we will have a plus button, which will redirect us to the creation of a project. All right, we have the new project. It is mandatory to assign a name to it. Spring campaign. Spring is coming here in Argentina, so I'm really excited. We need to link it to a client, obviously, as we have said before, Wine Enterprises in this case, and we need to select the project type which we are going to base our project on. A blank project, a blank page from where we start, or we can select a template which has been already created in our project's templates module. This helps us standardize our processes, and we can skip lots of steps throughout the project's creation. So when we select a template and they have been created already, they pre-exist our work here, we just click on this drop-down button and we will see listed all the project templates. If we select the Spring Festival campaign, for example, once we create the project, all the tasks, right, pre-established for the Spring Festival campaign will be created automatically. Today, we will start from a blank project. Let's continue. We have the basic project information. We are able to link this specific project to a brand or a product that Wayne Enterprises already has, right? We can write a brief or a description of the project. We can set or estimate the amount of deliverables that we are going to work with, in this project. Maybe we have quoted 20 deliverables for this project, or 10, or we are just estimating. So afterwards we can start analyzing the deviations that we have. It's not mandatory. We have work orders. Maybe you work with IDs, so you're able to set them here. And the most important thing here is our start and end date. It's not mandatory for you to set the end date, but it's very, very important for you to do so. Why so? We're able to set this project to a one-shot recurrency, or we can set a monthly, quarterly, annual recurrency. In case we have just a one-shot project that it starts the 1st of September and it finishes the 30th, then these settings are correct. But if we set a different recurrency, monthly recurrency, for example, we need to set the end date to the specific date in which this recurrency will end. For example, this specific project starts or started, right? Because let's imagine it's the 1st of September and we are starting today this project, and it finishes the 31st of December. What we are saying, COR, here is that each first day of the months of September, October, November, and December, the tasks that will be inside this project will be automatically created. Obviously, we are setting the end date to the 31st of December. So the 1st of January, those tasks won't be automatically created because the recurrency finishes the 31st of December. It's mandatory to choose the last date of the month, as you can see, or the first day of the month. That's how COR works. But it's very useful for us because we won't need to go into COR and each month create a new project, a campaign, a spring campaign, which is composed by the same tasks. We just set the recurrency, we set the start and the end date, and COR all alone will create the task that we select each first day of the month. The 1st of September, the 1st of October, the 1st of November, and the 1st of December. All right. If we set the settings, then the 1st of October, our selected tasks won't be created because we have indicated COR that the 30th of September will be the last day of our project. Okay. So let's set this end date to the 31st of December. It has a monthly recurrency. And let's click on next. Here we are adding members to our project. It's very useful for us to have members. We are not assigning tasks. We are just adding members to our project, but it's very useful for the projects, for course, how can I say this? So if we add members, we are adding them to the project and they will be updated on everything that happens within this project. I will show you afterwards how this works. So Catherine Jackson, Christina, Matthew, and Peter will be involved in this particular project. As simple as that. Then, and lastly, we have our profitability tab, which is quite complex. So, in COR, we need our projects to be associated to an income. It's very important because afterwards, we won't be able to analyze the project's profitability if we don't have an income. So, there are two possibilities here. We can add a quotation, a single quotation, for example, $5,000, which the client will be investing to make this project happen, right? Or we have a pre-existing fee, right? A pre-existing agreement with our client that each month we have $10,000 to invest in our projects. So if we don't have a single quotation, we may have a linked fee or a fee assigned to this specific client because we have fees agreed with a specific client, which can be an annual fee, a production fee. Well, we have an annual fee which was from last year, but we will work with the annual fee 2022. What does this mean? Each month, this fee will send a specific amount of money, of dollars, for example, in this case, in order to finance this specific project. I will show you this afterwards in the profitability tab. If we add a quotation, then we are just saying that those $5,000 will be used for this project, okay? I will select this fee. As you can see, you just click on the drop-down button and you will see all the fees that Wayne Enterprises has assigned or has within COR. We need to create those fees before assigning them to the projects, right? That's why I have these possibilities, all these options. Afterwards, we have the estimated time, which is also very important for us to complete. It's not mandatory, but it's very important for us to complete because we are estimating the amount of hours that this project will take us. And afterwards, we can analyze how many hours it actually took us so we can see our deviations. So let's say that this project, obviously on a monthly basis, right? Because we set the monthly recurrency on a monthly basis will take us 60 hours of our time, of our resources time. If you want to enable estimates by category, you can turn this on and you will be able to add categories. There are 13 pre-established categories within COR. They are not customizable, but we have, for example, the account management team, we have the creative team and the social media team. And I estimate, or I quote, the amount of hours that the account team, the creative team, and the social media team will be working on this project on a monthly basis. 20 hours of the account management team, 15 hours of the creative team, and 30 hours of the social media team. And we have 65 hours to work with this specific project, right? If you don't want to enable the estimates by category, you just turn this off. There you go. And we have the 65 hours estimated. Create project. There we go. All right. Here we are. So we have created our project. We have associated an income and a client to this specific spring campaign, but now we have no tasks. So what do we do? On the bottom of our screen, you will see a little box which says create new task. In order to create your first task, you just type the name of this new task, internal brief, and you just click on create, or you just enter. You just click on enter. And there we go. We have a new task, as simple as that. But now we have to populate the task. But before jumping on that, we will see what we have on our own projects level. We have the info tab, where we will find the start, end date, the brief, the project members, right? And the status of the project. New, as I told you, in progress, on hold, or suspended, and finished. Once we start working with the project, we will change the status to in progress. If we have any interruptions or problems, we need to set it to on hold. Remember that if we set the project to on hold or finished, the assigned fee won't set the amount of money to face the costs of this project because it's on hold. But if it's in progress because we are working on it, it will. So you need to change the status of the task once, right, the project managers, once we start working on it. It's in new for now. We have the discussion tab, and then we have the profitability tab. All right. So this is our bonus track. I want to show you this bonus track at the end because first we need to create tasks and assign tasks. So let's go back to our tasks view. I prefer the collapsible tasks view. And as you can see, we have our internal brief. If you click on the task, you will be able to access the panel, and you as project manager need to populate the task. How do we do that? We add a deadline, right? Next week. We set a priority because we need collaborators to prioritize their work. This is quite important, so we are setting it to high. There you go. We estimate the amount of hours or minutes that this task will take. 2 hours is fine. We can add task types, we can add labels, task types, connect the task to the category, so you are able to measure the amount of time that we are investing in that category. For example, the category has, for example, we have estimated that the account team would invest 5 hours in this project, and if we connect this task with that specific category by the task labels, for example, account management, the collaborators will start working on this project. They will track time, and we will see it reflected on our category. For example, we have used 1 hour of the 5 hours that we have estimated that the account team would work. I haven't enabled the estimation time by category, so this won't be of use. And now we have the members. It's very important for you to assign the tasks, so we are adding collaborators. Catherine and Jackson will be working on this task. We have followers, which are just followers of the task. They need to be updated on everything that happens, so we are adding Matthew. He needs to be updated on everything that happens here. And once we have added the collaborators, we need to distribute the hours, the estimated hours. We click on this button and we say that Catherine will work 1 hour and 30 minutes in this task because she needs to develop the internal brief, and Jackson will only review it. So we just estimate that we will be taking 30 minutes of his agenda. It's very important because in COR, we are able to work with resource allocation with our Gantt chart, which we will be explaining it on our next open trainings, but it's very important for us to estimate hours and to distribute them between the collaborators. Then we have all our work in our task. We have the possibility to add a brief, right? The description of what we have to do here. We have a checklist. We have subtasks, which are tasks that are within the internal brief, but they are not directly linked to this main task because it may be references. For example, we just type down the name and we click on enter. We can add different collaborators, right? Ali, for example. And if we change the status of this task, right? A collaborator changes the status of this task, the references task won't be changed, right? It's independent. Those subtasks, you may find them useful, maybe you don't. You just need to try, right? You just need to see if they work with your workflow. Okay, let's go back to the new status. Then we have the messages tab where we will be able to exchange information about everything that happens in this task with all our members. Everyone will receive a notification. We will be able to add files or attach files just by clicking on this button from our computer, from our drives. And we are able to track our work time here. We can track our time, our work time in this particular task just by clicking on this button or by starting our timer, which automatically changes the status. We can manually log time by clicking on this button, which redirects us to this modal where we are able to select the date in which we have been working on this task. I highly recommend you to track your time on a daily basis, but maybe you forgot. So you can go back to last week and track time. Track, for example, 2 hours of work and write a note here to specify in which you have been working those 2 hours. Except, there you go. All right, now we have here that Mary Rosewood, has logged 2 hours of her time. If she needs to edit this, she can do so by clicking on the pencil, or if she needs to erase it, she can click on this button. This continues, as you can see. If I don't stop the timer, it doesn't finish, sorry. So if I stop, there you go. I have tracked 1 minute of work in this particular task. Very, very, very important. All right, let's go a little bit faster so we can jump into project's profitability. So if our collaborators finish their execution of the task, they change the task to in review. Obviously, they have tracked their time. The project manager receives a notification. She reviews the task and maybe she needs to add a rework, right? Because we need to do some adjustments. Mary Rosewood clicks on these 3 dots, adds the rework, internal or client. She adds the description, right? The adjustments that we need to do. She clicks on accept, and as you can see, this has been changed to corrections. And we have the reworks description, what we have to do. The collaborators come back to this task. They work on this rework, on these adjustments. They track the time that they have been working on these adjustments, 30 minutes, for example. They track their time, obviously, and they set the status again to in review. The project manager again reviews the task, and if we have everyone's approval, Mary Rosewood can change the status to finished. And once we have everything done, remember that we need to archive the task. Okay, it's very important for us to archive the task once it's finished, once we have nothing else to do within this task. All right, so we had the internal brief, the references, and now we are jumping to our profitability tab. We were in our task panel, we exit, we close it, and we go to our profitability tab. Here, what we will find is our projected and our current profitability. We have the current budget, right? We have selected that this project would be financed by a fee, and our fee has sent us $1,000. Okay, so if we need to add more quotes, more incomes, we can do so by selecting the date, adding a description, quote for photo shoot, for example, something that we haven't considered in the beginning, and we add the amount of income that we will receive. There you go. Okay, it automatically changes. Then what do we have here? We have the hourly costs. This number is composed by the hours that we have estimated that our resources would work on this specific project, on each task, and the hourly cost of each resource. Maga costs us $10 per hour. And I have estimated that she would work 5 hours on, sorry, let's go to the collapsible view, on this internal brief. So COR does the math and it shows us that since we have just one task and we have estimated that Maka would work 5 hours in that task, that we have $50 of hourly cost, a projected hourly cost, because we have estimated that Maka would work 50 hours on that task. If we have more tasks, then we are adding all the estimated time and the hourly cost that our resources have, right? That have been loaded in our COR before creating this project. So this is what we have here, right? A projected cost, a projected hourly cost. We think that it will cost us $50 Maca's work in the tasks, right? But what happens if Maca tracks 6 hours of her time because she had to do some adjustments in this particular tasks, or the resources had to work a little bit more in the tasks that we have created within this project. So this changes. This is no longer $50, it's $100. So the current profitability will show us the real costs and the real additional cost, the real hourly costs and our real result. This is just a projected result depending on what we have estimated. And this is the result that it actually, right? That it actually, we don't actually suffer it, but we actually go through, right? So if you click on this button and if you're C-level, you will be able to see how much time the users have tracked and the costs, because you need to analyze afterwards how we are working. Now, we have the additional costs, which are, for example, transportation or transport, sorry, because last Tuesday we had to go to the client's offices and it costs us $20. So we add it to our costs and there you have it, okay? And our result obviously changes. And if this result changes, our percentage of profitability changes too. This is our estimated result. COR shows us that having this budget, having this hourly cost estimated, and having these additional costs, we will have this result and this profitability. But when we start working on our projects, things change, right? We have to adjust things. We need to, for example, add additional costs, and reality happens. So we have different results and we can contrast them in this particular view, okay? Maca, are there any questions so far?
No, any questions? We are okay.
All right,
Yes.
I will show you one last thing so we can finish this, and because we are almost on time. So let's open a project which I have created a long time ago, and let's go to the Profitability tab. The All About Fun campaign for One Enterprises has had some time going on, and as you can see, I have a specific budget, I have hourly costs estimated, an additional cost which I haven't added, and a specific result. This is the projected result for my project on a monthly basis, because this is a project that was created on a monthly basis. But when we start working on it, we see that the hourly costs per month are different. For example, if we click on this plus button, we will see the historic. We will be able to see that in May, we had a big budget, we had a high hourly cost, and we had this result. Then we can see that the budget has been decreasing, and in August we had only $6,500, and we had a high cost hourly cost, and we had additional costs, which led us to just $1,300 as a result, which is not the same as the projected result, and the profitability is quite low. All right, so afterwards, you are able to analyze all your project's profitability, right? Differentiated in months in case you have selected the monthly recurrency, and afterwards, understand if you need to renegotiate with your client, if you need to change the resources that are destined to this specific project, or if you need to review how you're working. Okay, Maca, we are on time. I don't want to use more time that we have. I want to know if there are questions in our chat.
No. Any
Then,
questions at this open training?
if there are no questions, if there are no comments in our chat, if we have been clear and everything, we much appreciated your assistance here, and we ask you to stay tuned because more open trainings are coming up, more content, more features, and everything explained step by step as we did today. So we will be expecting you. We thank you very much. I thank you very much, Maga, for being here with me. So just like this, we finish our open training, and we expect to see you on the next ones.
Thank you. Thank you, Belu. Bye.
Wonderful. See you guys. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.